Playtime! Yay! Greetings and welcome to Playtime, where we celebrate imagination, play together, and maybe even learn something we didn't know. In the late 90s, Godzilla went mainstream again here in the States, maybe due to the hype for the upcoming TriStar film. Perhaps riding that hype train, American book publisher Random House released a couple of Godzilla-themed children's books, Godzilla Likes to Roar and Who's Afraid of Godzilla, both which were published in 1998. Now, when I think of a Godzilla book aimed at small children, I imagine the art might look cutesy, not unlike how the kaiju appeared in Godzillaland. And that would have been perfectly acceptable. But for whatever reason, both of these books are illustrated by Bob Eggleton, arguably the best Godzilla illustrator ever! You might know Eggleton's Godzilla art from various magazine and book covers over the last couple of decades, not to mention his more recent contributions to IDW Comics, including issue 2 of Godzilla in Hell. Now, over on Twitter, I put up a poll on which book you guys would like to see me read on the show. You guys want Who's Afraid of Godzilla? And I am at your service. We'll just get rid of this. The text in Who's Afraid of Godzilla is credited to Dai Kaiju, which I'm assuming is a pseudonym. Anyway, get tucked in, kiddies, it's story time. Monster Island was the home of all the Earth's giant monsters, and every day the monsters played on the island's sunny beach. Gigan and Megalon wrestled. Anguirus chased Varan's tail. Manda swam in the ocean, and Rodan flew in circles, high above the sand. But not all the monsters played together. One monster sat alone. So I'll say this, if you don't know your kaiju, this might be a tough story to follow. There are more than a few in here, and the book is not wasting time with introductions. We even get Varan and Manda, that's pretty cool. But what are Megalon and Gigan doing on Monster Island? Megalon's supposed to live underground, and Gigan's from outer space. Anyway, sorry for interrupting. From the top of the island's tallest volcano, Godzilla watched the other monsters play. He wanted to join in the fun, but he knew they didn't want to play with him. Godzilla was the biggest, strongest, and toughest of all the monsters. Because he was so powerful, the others were afraid of him. They always ran away when he came near. Somebody make this picture a meme right now! Sad Godzilla! Go, go, go! One day, the monsters were having so much fun that Godzilla couldn't stop himself. He just had to join them. He jumped to his feet and ran down the side of the volcano, roaring with excitement. His howls echoed across Monster Island, shaking the palm trees and frightening the birds that lived in them. Here comes Godzilla, Anguirus cried. Run! Varan bellowed as he spread his arms and legs and took off into the sky. Manda hissed a warning, then ducked beneath the waves. Baragon dug a hole and jumped inside. Gigan and Megalon stopped wrestling and ran into the jungle to hide. By the time Godzilla got to the beach, the other monsters were gone. All I wanted to do was play with them, Godzilla cried angrily. He stomped his foot and roared. If I can't make friends on Monster Island, then I'll go somewhere else. Godzilla jumped into the ocean and disappeared beneath the waves. When the other monsters returned to the beach, they wondered where Godzilla was going. Some of them felt bad because he was leaving, but a few were happy, especially Gigan and Megalon. Now they were the toughest monsters on Monster Island. For a long time, Godzilla swam through the ocean. Finally, in the distance, he saw a great ship. Will you be my friend? Godzilla called to the ship, filling the air with his mighty roar. On the deck of the ship, the passengers and crew heard Godzilla's roar. They cried out in panic and ran for the lifeboats. Godzilla is coming, they shouted. Godzilla saw that the people on the boat were afraid of him too, just like the monsters on Monster Island. With a sigh, Godzilla swam sadly away. Godzilla swam and swam through the ocean waves. Finally, he came to a great city filled with tall skyscrapers and lots of people. Maybe he would find a friend here. But when Godzilla climbed onto the shore, sirens began to blare. Tanks and airplanes came to chase him away. He howled in surprise as cannons were fired at him. The weapons could not hurt the mighty Godzilla, but he knew he was not wanted. So he turned and headed back to the ocean. Can you imagine this whole time in every Godzilla movie, he was just going to Tokyo looking for friends? That's kind of depressing, actually. I feel like I can relate to Godzilla. Godzilla swam underwater for many days, searching for a place where he could find a friend. He saw whales and sharks and octopuses and even a giant squid. But like the monsters on Monster Island, the creatures of the ocean depths were afraid of him. Finally, Godzilla arrived in a land with many different animals. Big ones and small ones, elephants, giraffes, and zebras. I'm sure to find a friend here, Godzilla growled excitedly. But when he came ashore, all the animals ran away in a dusty stampede. Once again, Godzilla was alone. He blinked,
Was it the dust that made his eyes fill with tears?
You guys, Godzilla is crying in this book. He is downright sobbing. And I get it. I get it.
As he turned to go, Godzilla realized he would never find a friend. With a heavy heart, he returned to Monster Island. Meanwhile, back on Monster Island, Megalon and Gigan had taken over Godzilla's old ledge on top of the volcano, and the two monsters began to bully the others. Gigan frightened Varan into the sky. Megalon chased Manda to the far side of the island. Rodan flew away, and Baragon was so afraid that he burrowed underground and would not come out of his hole. Anguirus was the only monster who didn't run away.
It's not right, he screeched angrily. Things were better when Godzilla was here. At least Gigan and Megalon behaved.
Bravely, Anguirus climbed up the volcano to confront the bullies. But when he got to the top, Gigan and Megalon pushed poor Anguirus into the volcano's crater. The pit was so deep that he could not get out. Anguirus was trapped.
Suddenly, a mighty roar made Gigan and Megalon jump in surprise. Godzilla is back! Gigan yelped in fear as the king of the monsters charged up the hill. The two bullies ran down the other side of the volcano and hid in the jungle. Help! Anguirus cried to Godzilla. I'm trapped.
All the other monsters heard Anguirus calling. With dread, they wondered what Godzilla was going to do to poor Anguirus.
To everyone's surprise, Godzilla stood quietly for a moment.
Then he threw his long tail over the edge of the crater for Anguirus to grab. His muscles bulged as he dragged Anguirus out of the crater and set him down on the ledge. Anguirus had never before been this close to the mighty king of the monsters. He'd always run away with the others when Godzilla came near, but Anguirus decided that Godzilla wasn't so scary after all.
Are you alright? Godzilla growled. Yes, Anguirus replied. Now that I have a big strong friend like you to help me out of trouble.
From then on, the other monsters played with Godzilla. Anguirus even asked Godzilla to wrestle. When Gigan and Megalon crept out of the jungle, they gasped. Anguirus, aren't you afraid?
Nah, he replied. Who's afraid of Godzilla? So in the official canon, I'd say this story takes place after Ghidorah the three-headed monster, but before Invasion of the Astro Monster. I'm kidding. Obviously, this is a sequel to Shin Godzilla. These books are getting pricier by the year, so if you have any desire to buy them online, I'd do it now. I've seen this one go for between $60 to $140, believe it or not. I got it fairly cheap, but as you can see, the trade-off is this pretty poor condition. It's also really easy to find full scans online as of now, just by Googling the book name. If you want to check out these stories, I recommend you go that route and save your pennies for something else. Unless you're an avid collector of Bob Eccleston art, that is. But who needs his art when you can draw Godzilla yourself? Dun dun dun! Tune in next time! This book was soon followed up with Who Pooped in Rodan's Cereal. Seriously, look at him. What's wrong with him here?